G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, undoubtedly you are here to tell me how stupid and wrong I was with my prediction going into this match. 27 points to 42. I honestly did not see this happen. I had suspected it could be like a close upset for the French team, but I did not expect that the French was going to win with such an ease, especially when Dupont got hurt. I thought surely this was game over. And no, the French not only played better without Antoine Dupont, they just completely, ran away with this game, and the Irish completely crumbled under the French regime. And it is 100% the brilliant, genius coaching from Fabien Galthié. I have to give him, all credit. I have to really pay respect to just how brilliant Fabien Galthié is as a coach, and obviously everybody already know he was a absolutely genius as a player as well. This game, he's actually, it's really difficult to understand how difficult the job is for Fabien Galthié. I've talked about this in the past as well. He's the only international head coach that do not have access to his entire team for the entire international test season. He does not have access to his top players in July test series, so he has to go overseas with his B team, essentially. And, it is really important for every team to build with a consistent player base into the Rugby World Cup. He's the only one who do not have that luxury as the international head coach, because the top 14 has access to the top players just prior to the July test series, and the players has mandatory rest period after the top 14, so the top players are not able to play. And that really literally ties one hand behind the back for Galthié. And in addition, he also has to overcome the glaring problem that everybody saw last year, is the fact that the over-reliance on Antoine Dupont. And, he could have just gone, Dupont's going to come back next year. We're just going to, wing it for the Six Nations last year. And then we're just going to go back on track once Dupont is back into the team, right? Nope. He actually taken the steps to shift his way away from playing without Antoine Dupont, as shown today. The team actually performed better without Dupont on the field in many aspects of the game. He's actually come up with really brilliant strategy as well, identifying the weaknesses of the Irish team, something that he recognized that the Irish wingers and centers are just not that fast compared to his own wingers in Pennold and Bieri, and he exploited their speed again and again and again with a very clear game plan, is to just grab a kick the ball down the field and make it into a foot race with his faster players with a bit of advantage over the Irish defensive team. And that was glaringly exploited the entire game, right? In addition, he also made added more dynamics and different strategies into the game as well. He obviously transitioned to the 6-2 setup for probably a while now, like maybe 1 or 2 years now. But today he transitioned to the 7-1. He played 7-1 against Italy last year, but this is probably the first major test match he transitioned into the 7-1 setup. Again, just to move away from the traditions, just to give himself more options. And it's worked. His investments into these different strategies, into these different options worked. And he has to work with 2 injuries in his back. So despite having Antoine Dupont injured early and number 13, whatever his name is, hurt, he was able to play in the game with comfort, with a forward standing in the outside center position. Jegu was put in outside center position. And that didn't, it just shows the amount of preparation, the amount of strategy that went into the selections that made it all work. Because we've seen Eddie Jones try 6-2 and suddenly gets a couple of injuries in the back line, and the team just completely fell apart, right? And Fabien Galthié has managed that injury without any issues. And that is 100% credit to Galthié and his brilliance as a head coach. With that being said, the French also really well done with a lot of the one-on-one tackles, a lot of scrambling defense. Even forwards was able to make one-on-one tackles against backs. It just shows the selections, the emphasis in their training, and it's paying off tonight as well against the Irish. And obviously everybody knew the Irish strength relies on their forwards, and having that 7-1 on the bench really neutralized a lot of that advantage as well from the Ireland team. Now, with that being said, the Ireland, on the other hand, I can't tell you what the clear strategy was for the Ireland team. Prendergast seems to just be doing some of this like kicking game, I guess you can call it, haymaker kicking sort of thing. When you're in the around the 22-meter mark, and the Ireland team just wasn't able to follow that up. Again, maybe lacking that speed to follow up with these kicking games. So Prendergast, like some of the kicking game was quite brilliant, but just no one followed up, and he just looked like, why did you even do that, right? But it's not really his fault. It's the fact that nobody actually followed up from that. Maybe a bit of communication issue there as well. And once the pressure came on, I do think that Prendergast was not able to perform. He was dropping the ball. He was under pressure and not able to get that fluid, performance that we've seen earlier in the match. I saw it late in the second half. Again, then this leaves the second question for me as well. Why did you have Crowley on the bench to only come off the bench to go to the center? I mean, it's like, in the past, Ireland has found success even in the last year's November Test series, where Crowley was able to come on to kind of like sort out the inconsistencies that Prendergast was having and just get the team back on track and win the game, essentially. And he wasn't able to do that because he wasn't put at 10 position. In fact, putting him at a position that he's not familiar with at center this week, and it's just a little bit mind-boggling to me. Why didn't they just actually have a center on the bench and then just have that player come on to play center instead of having Crowley sort of like filling in every role that's in the back line sort of thing? I just didn't think this was no clear strategy what the Irish wanted to do with the bench. That's very clear indicated to me there. And also, again, the French has identified the Irish lack of speed. Ireland actually substituted slower players to come off the bench than they did with the starting players. Like, you have, there's no disrespect to any of these players, but it is just what it is. They had King Healy come on for Porter. What's his name? Let's just have a look actually, so we know, right? You have King Healy, Conor Murray coming on for Gibson Park, and they are great players, but again, you're actually taking speed off the field. When you're already losing that speed fight, the speed, I guess, you already lost the speed advantage there. It is really, really difficult for the Ireland, with the setup on the bench as well. And again, it shows me there's a lack of strategy in the Ireland team going into this game. They didn't really identify what the weaknesses was for the French team. They just kind of went for their bread and butter and hope that it was going to work out for them. Now let's move on to the referee. Before we go to talk about referee, I just want to ask if anybody know what this was, the song was that is playing at the background. Well, the song that was playing at the stadium here, it was just like absolutely beautiful. So if anybody know what that is, let me know. But yeah, let me let's talk about some of these things. First of all, the Antoine Dupont injury. I've talked about this in the past. I don't think you should be allowed to land on player's leg. I think World Rugby might have to look into this, because this is once again in a clean out. This is Ty Burn landing on Dupont's leg. I don't think this is allowed. When Doris landed on Malcolm Marx's leg, I was not happy about that. I think this is something they need to look at. There's technically not a croc roll, but I don't think something like this should be allowed, because it is quite dangerous and it can cause injuries quite easily. But then again, how you should supposed to clean people out in the ruck, they have to really look into how to make this maybe a little bit safer. Let me know your thoughts on that. So yeah, let's talk about some of the stuff here. So Angus Gardner, the Australian referee, has a pretty tough day tonight, to be honest. I thought there was some very, very, very difficult calls. So this one was Joe, what was his name? I think it was Joe McCarthy here that was sent off with a yellow card. McCarthy was sent off the yellow card with pulling a player back, so that's fair enough. This was a head-on-head yellow card on the Irish number. Was it Nash that was sent off? I think might be Nash, but anyway. So this one, so there was a yellow card there. Fair enough, head-on-head, and it's pretty standard. But this try here is something that I think a lot of people might not be very happy. So Peter O'Mahony, he was involved in the tackle. He did have his hands on the player. So let's turn the sound off. So this one here, it was a high shot here. Let's see the line break. So Peter O'Mahony is part of the tackle, right? You can see right here, he's part of the tackle. So he's technically the tackler, one of the tacklers. And he lets go with the tackle, so he's technically out. But the French player's already committed to cleaning him out. And he cleans him out and then knocks him over, right? So I think a lot of Irish fans felt like there was a defender that was taken out leading into this try for the French team. Angus Gardner said that he was going backwards and then that led to him falling over. Wasn't a deliberate attempt to take him out as out of action. So I think Gus made the right decision. This is a very difficult position. So yes, you are not allowed to hold a player in this situation to stop him from make a tackle. But you're also not allowed to take out a player to stop him from defending. But I think Angus Gardner is right. The clean out player, Flamont, was committed to cleaning out O'Mahony because O'Mahony was part of the tackling. He was actually a tackler, right? So he was committed to clean out, and O'Mahony was accidentally knocked over essentially because he was going backwards. It's almost like he was pretty much it was pretty much like he was pushed off balance as a result of the clean out, not a deliberate attempt to take him out of action. That's what I think. You can let me know, but I think this is very difficult. I can see referees, if the referee said this was taken out of action and call it a no try, I think it's fine too. But it did not really. Yeah, it to me, I think that this is a fair call from the referee Angus Gardner because he's technically a tackler and the cleaner has committed to cleaning him out. And his last second, he lets it go and start moving backwards and gets pushed over. I don't think that's something that the cleaner can just suddenly go, stop to following through. It's just part of the natural action for a clean out person to follow through with the cleaner. And O'Mahony falling over really isn't a deliberate attempt by the cleaner to take him out from being able to defend. I think that's correct decision from Angus Gardner there. And then the next one we've got the deliberate knock on by the one of the French players. This one was a little bit interesting as well. So Christopher Ridley, the English referee, actually advised that this was a deliberate knock on and a yellow card. Angus Gardner's decision was that there was no line break opportunity. It was just a deliberate knock on and just the penalty. So again, I think Angus Gardner is right here because it is not a situation where the player, the French was in danger of conceding a try as of if this ball wasn't deliberately knocked on, this was going to lead into a try because you can see there are plenty of defenders around, and there's plenty of defenders around. And it's almost like it is definitely a deliberate knock on. There's absolutely no argument about that. He stuck his hand out to try to disrupt the play. But this is really not a situation, as Angus Gardner have said, that could lead into a try scoring. There's plenty of defenders there. A try scoring opportunity, and it should not be a yellow. If this was a gap that could be gone through, then I definitely for a yellow card, I can see that. But I think that Angus Gardner, again, has made a difficult, but I think has made the right decision here. Let me know your thoughts. I know you would disagree with me. And yes, I am Australian, and Angus Gardner is an Australian. So you could completely say that I'm biased towards him, but that is how I see it as well. From after initially I looked at it, I thought this was wrong, both these calls, but after looking at it back, I felt like these are actually the right calls from Angus Gardner overall. So let's go through the match stats of the game. 3 tries to 5. Ireland, was pretty down and out. Got 2 tries right at the end of the game to make it look a bit closer. Still couldn't quite get that bonus point. Something that could be really crucial for them. So 465 run meters for the Ireland to the French 476. 3 tries to 5. 142 carries for the Irish to 96 for the French. So the Ireland had plenty of opportunities. they just didn't able to convert. 13 turnovers conceded against Ireland, 9 against the French. 98 tackles made for Ireland, 19 missed tackles. The French almost 200 tackles at 996 and only 21 missed tackles. So the French has better defense completion rate there. Kicking game, 32 from the Ireland, 33 from the French. 146 kick meters for the French and 866 for Ireland. So not only that the French beat the Irish on the range of the kicking, but just the overall accuracy and tactics of the kicking game was much better, higher quality as well. There was one missed penalty for Prendergast from right in front as well. Not ideal for any coach to see that. Line out, 1 loss for Ireland, 0 for the French. Pretty even overall, not too much there. Scrum as well, pretty even overall. A couple times the scrums was going down. Angus Gardner really tried to keep the game flowing without giving out any penalties or short arms. So the scrums was, I thought was, pretty loose there for both teams. Ireland, is this actually correct? Only 6 penalties conceded. Only 6 penalties conceded overall. Pretty good discipline. 2 yellow cards, like I said, 1 for pulling up a player down without a ball to Joe McCarthy, and then 1 for the high shot later on, as we just looked at. And then the French actually conceded 13 penalties, 1 yellow card for repeated penalties right at the end of the game. There are a lot of the French penalties powered up like pretty much in the last 5 minutes, just scrambling to defend against the Ireland, trying to get a consolation try. So really, if you're taking those out, it's probably not nearly as bad as it may appear in this statistic here. The French pretty much already won the game at that point, and they were just giving out penalties in front of the try line, trying to hold out the final Irish advancement. So let's have a look at some of the point summary of the game. This was, 10 minutes into the game, Prendergast missed the penalty right in front of the goalpost. I was like, what? 20 minutes in the game, McCarthy was sent off for pulling Ramos down without a ball. Support runner, which was a yellow card. So after this yellow card was given, the French went for the line out, they went for the more, and Dupont went blindside, cut out pass to Bieri, try time into the corner, 5 points to 0 for the French. 33 minutes of the game, there was a penalty to Ireland. They kicked 3 points, 3 points to 5. Ireland had so many opportunities before this. Repeated penalties. They didn't go for the penalty goals. They went for the line out. They backed themselves, which I do think that's a really good idea, but just wasn't able to convert. 35 minutes in the game, right from the kickoff on the penalty, the Irish was penalized for blocking access to the ball receiver. Just a bit of a coach killer there. The French taking that 3 points to 8. Just before half time, the Ireland got a penalty 50 meters out, and Prendergast kicked this one 6 points to 8 going into halftime. Second half starts, the Ireland actually looked really good. They had a penalty, they went for the line out, they went for the more, and then it was just a beautiful rolling more. Sheehan saw the open into the corner and it darts himself in. 13 points to 8. 46 minutes into the game, this was or what happened here? Yeah, so this was basically where the incident we just looked at. There was a yellow card to Calvin Nash for head-on-head collision with the French number 13. And then follow that through, there was where Omani got taken out, and there was some nice little pop off the ground, nice little flick passes. There was one nice flick pass from Luku, and then the French eventually rolled forward with that momentum, crashed over for the try with Bodegend with this one. 13 points to 15. French give themselves 2 points back ahead. And this one, since the number 13 was taken out, Jegu was put on the field, the forward at outside center position. 49 minutes into the game, it was looking like, at this point, the Ireland might just roll themselves into some momentum with, because the French don't have Dupont. The French is tightening up a bit as well in their attack, but yeah, really didn't play into, despite the French play much tighter, they actually play a lot better without Dupont, in my opinion. So, Damien Penault got the ball, and then he just like found himself this nice little gap in the Irish backline, ran through, and then a nice long pass to Bieri, and Bieri grabber kicked the ball behind. Like I said, this grabber kick down the sideline has worked just wonders for the French team. Grabber down the sideline and just speed. Literally, this was a foot race between 2 French players to the finish line. There was Bieri racing against Luku, and Bieri grounds the ball. There was 2 French players that actually could have disrupted each other a little bit there. 13 points to 22. There was no Irish player even in contest for this kick behind. 54 minutes into the game, there was a penalty against Ireland for playing the halfback. You can see the Irish team visibly getting frustrated. France kicking out of 3, 13 points to 25. Crowley's put on the field at fullback, at center, for inside center for Bandiakia at this point. I was just scratching my head a little bit here. 58 minutes into the game, the French was again inside the Irish half, piling in a lot of tight pick and go, and eventually Jégu drives himself over for the try. 13 points to 32. Again, having 9 forwards on the field is quite nice, I guess. 66 minutes in the game, another penalty against Ireland for not releasing. For the France kicking out of 3, 13 points to 35. And then after this, you can clearly see the pressure starting to get to the Prendergast a little bit. It was dropping the ball a bit, and then the kicking game as well is starting to go a little bit, a little bit haywire. Just really wasn't any, just a bit of haymakers. Kicking starting to come out for Prendergast as well. 69 minutes we saw this, just the penalty for the French to deliberate knock on. The Ireland had a chance to quick tap and go for it. They got held up. More penalties follow this. There was a 74 minutes. There was more penalties. Follow this. And there was one of the French players got sent off for a yellow card. And then 74 minutes, there was an offside, a penalty, and then Ireland went quick again. Prendergast tried to throw a pass, and it was intercepted by Thomas Ramos, and he just ran through, and then he passed the ball to Pennell. Again, Pennell was the faster player, just completely ran through. The Ireland chaser was just just falling behind, had no chance catching up the Pennell. 13 points to 42 to the French. And then finally, 77 minutes in the game, Ireland had a penalty that went for the line out. More crash balls, and Cian Healy, the big boy coming off the bench, only one able to crash over the advantage line, essentially, seemingly gets over the try. 20 points to 42. And finally, 80 minutes in the game, there was another penalty to Ireland that went for a quick tap, quick hands to Conan on the side, runs over for the try. 27 points to 42, couple consolation points, and that was the end of that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about the referee. Let me know your thoughts about this game. And the French is currently, it still has Scotland coming up. If they lose to Scotland, or if they don't get a bonus point against Scotland, then there might be a situation where England wins the Six Nations. If England, goes on to get bonus point wins against Italy and Wales in the final 2 rounds. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later for more reviews. Cheers.